If you're looking for an email service provider, or you already have an email service provider but you're not happy with it, then you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to break down everything you need to know. So if you don't follow me, my name's Damon. I've been an email marketer for the last 4 years. My company manages email lists for clients, and I've generated over $30 million in email revenue during that time. Now, I've used pretty much every ESP you can think of: MailChimp, Klaviyo, HubSpot, Salesforce, ActiveCampaign, Aweber, GetResponse, GoHighLevel, even custom-built platforms. And these all have their pros and cons and things that I don't like and do like about them. But I've never really had a strong opinion one way or the other until I stumbled upon a new ESP last year that I'm now a big fan of. So not only have I been recommending this to my own clients, but I also run my personal list out of it as well. Now, if you're a well-established business that makes over $5 million a year and wants to go the full-service CRM route, then I generally recommend HubSpot. And on that same note, if you're a business in this range and you aren't generating at least 20% of total revenue from email, then I highly recommend clicking the link below and booking a call with me so that I can take that over for you. So links in the comments there. But if that's not the case, if you're below that range, then I strongly suggest going with Beehive. Now, pound for pound, I think Beehive is the best option available for ESPs if you're not going the full service CRM route. It's significantly cheaper than ActiveCampaign. I only pay about $150 a month with it. There's also cheaper plans available if you have a small list. Now, Beehive has a lot of awesome features that most ESPs don't have. For example, it has your own custom website that comes along with it. So you can have emails automatically post to your website, so that it's actually very similar to a Substack. Beehive also integrates with a platform called SparkLoop that lets you acquire subscribers for a set CPA. Speaking of advertising, Beehive also has its own internal advertising platform where you can place ads at a set cost per click. So similar to other ESPs, Beehive's functionalities are comparable. You can send broadcasts, set up automations, do tagging. If you're facing deliverability issues, Beehive has its own internal domains you could send from if you've been blacklisted or you're facing problems. But there's one thing that ultimately just sets Beehive apart in my mind, and that's the fact that Beehive is ultimately a brand new ESP. They're very friendly towards their customers, and they're working really hard to acquire and keep new customers. Now, a lot of other ESPs like ActiveCampaign are well established and just have horrendous customer service. They don't care about the customers. It's impossible to get someone on a call or to fix tech issues. Beehive's customer service has been super on it every single time I run into an issue, and really easy to get in touch with them. For me as an email marketer, this is huge. And after spending like 10 hours on trying to chase down ActiveCampaign's horrendous customer service this year, I really value customer service when it comes to the ESP that I work with. From here, I want to go ahead, share my screen, and just walk through what it is that Beehive's UI looks like. Okay, so here we got Beehive. This is just the overall user interface here. So pretty standard stuff, I'd say. You can see subscriber growth. You can see at a high level your open rates, click rates, all that good stuff. So let's go into this. Like I mentioned before, I really like this feature where you can basically just send an email and then this automatically posts onto your website. So if I have this, I have daily emails going out from this list here. These are automatically being posted onto my site for this. And you can turn that feature on and off too if you are. I do pretty heavy direct response emails for most of my clients. If I'm doing like say a one-line reply email, or I have some sort of temporary offer we're running, you don't have to post it onto a website, but it does have that option available if you want to do that. So I like that a lot. That's been pretty clutch for me. Here you can see things like automations. If you want to set up these. So here's just like a basic workflow that I have. This is pretty simple stuff, but if we want to get more complex with it, which by the way, I don't really recommend doing, to be honest, I like to keep email automations pretty simple, you have those options as well. So we've got these. If we want to have, I don't know why this question keeps coming up for me, but you can do segments, you can do lists just like any other ESP too. If you want to run some polls, surveys, all that stuff, you can do that. Now, this is where I think having monetization options inside of an ESP specifically, I don't really see any other ESPs doing that. So that's I think that's a good incentive for a lot of people who have their own email list, because you can do things like recommendations and referrals and boosts and spark loop. These are easy ways to monetize. I wouldn't necessarily say, depending on the type of business you run, like these probably shouldn't be a primary revenue source for you, but it helps to keep costs down, helps to offset the cost of adding subscribers to the list. And I think we all know with an email list, if you're able to acquire new subscribers to the list for free, you're pretty much golden then. You can scale that list to the moon, and then everything on the back end is profit. So we have a lot of good options, which I am a big fan of. You can see monetization dashboards. I have a relatively small list of 15,000 people, so I don't get lots of people looking to advertise in my newsletter. But basically here, if someone requests to advertise in this, it will internally track the clicks, and I'll get like a set dollar amount or per click. So it'll be, depending on the advertisement, maybe $2 per click or something. Nothing substantial here, but at the same time, if you are a very large newsletter, let's say you're a newsletter like the Rundown, for example, you have 500,000 people on there, you're going to have a lot of people who are competing to advertise in your newsletter, and instead of 121 clicks, it's not really that much realistically, you might get thousands of clicks just for essentially throwing a little ad in your email. So I'm a big fan of that. We have, similar to everyone else, we've got analytics in here. I personally like to do analytics through Hyros instead of internally within ESPs, but we do have these options available. And one last thing as well, one of the nice things about Beehive, it comes with 3 separate lists. This is my main newsletter. I also run a personal newsletter. So at least on the plan that I am on, you get 3 different lists out of it. So let's say you have a personal list, you have the list for your business, maybe you have multiple businesses, maybe you have 2 separate business lists and a personal list. It all comes within that plan. So you can get multiple lists, and you don't have to have separate ESP accounts. You don't have to have 3 active campaign accounts in that case. So I'm a big fan of that. So as a whole, Beehive is great. Highly recommend switching over to it, or if you're just starting your list, getting onto it. So let me know if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.